Kinsley. And today we are reviewing the article, "The Dairy Industry Lost $420 million from a Flaw in a Single Bull."
It was written by Sarah Zhang.
Published in The Atlantic.
In October of 2016.
A Holstein bull born in 1962 impacted the dairy genetics worldwide with his outstanding EPDs. His legacy reveals how he accomplished this and portrays the havoc that a single gene mutation can create on an industry as a whole. Pawnee Farms' Arlinda Chief sired 16,000 daughters, 500,000 granddaughters, and more than 2 million great-granddaughters. Not surprising, his genes compose 14% of all DNA in the Holstein breed today.
The reason that Chief's mutation spread quickly and across the world was due to the rise in popularity of artificial insemination, commonly known as AI. They were able to ship his semen all across the world to many premier breeders of dairy cattle. Since his EPDs were so advanced, many operations decided to use his genetics on many of their cows.
After several years, ranchers would interbreed Chief's descendants, causing a massive loss of offspring due to the mutation.
The result was a dramatic increase in milk production, boosting the economics of the dairy industry to new heights. The average dairy cow today produces 4 times as much milk as one did in 1962, and that is due, in part, to Arlinda Chief. As a matter of fact, the use of Chief's genetics, instead of an average bull's, led to a $30 billion increase in milk production over a 35-year span.
Chief carried a recessive lethal mutation on the APAF1 gene. The APAF1 gene directly corresponded to a stretch of DNA that had coincidentally been well studied in knockout mice. The author stated, "The reason we had a candidate so quickly was because of the tremendous investment in mouse genetics. Knockout mice are so named because it knocks out a gene." The mutation in knockout mice was shown to cause fetal mortality by affecting the central nervous system and by causing brain cells to grow out of control until the embryo eventually dies. So this could be classified as a loss of function and lethal mutation.
Essentially, what the mutation is doing is shortening the amino acid chain that is critical for protein-to-protein interaction. The resulting APAF1 peptide is severely shortened and has the effect of making the genes inoperative because of a critical piece being in the shortened position.
As you can see, in the mutated sequence, a nonsense stop codon is placed in the middle of the chain, causing it to stop reading the RNA prematurely. Square comparing a mating of a heterozygous F1 progeny, you would expect to see a genotypic ratio of a quarter, half-quarter shown here. This is a quarter homozygous dominant, a half heterozygous, and then a homozygous recessive at a quarter.
The article discusses the APAF1 gene mutation, which involves a recessive lethal allele and is classified as a lethal mutation. So, the homozygous recessive is no longer a factor because they die early in the embryonic stage. So, the genotypic ratios are 1/3 homozygous dominant and 2/3 heterozygous.
In review, the regular Punnett square has a ratio of a quarter homozygous dominant, half heterozygous, and a quarter homozygous recessive. With the lethal mutation, the new ratio is 1/3 homozygous dominant and 2/3 heterozygous, due to the factor that the homozygous recessive does not make it to birth.
It is estimated that this mutation of the APAF1 gene that Chief carried resulted in 500,000 abortions over a 35-year period. This math works out to be a $420 million loss worldwide.
The best part is, you don't need a calculator.
In conclusion, Pawnee Farms' Arlinda Chief carried the APAF1 gene mutation on the 5th chromosome. Since the popularity of AI was rising, Chief's genetics were being found all across the world. This mutation caused a $420 million loss to the entire dairy industry due to miscarriages and abortions.
With today's technology, not only can we screen for the APAF1 mutation, but the industry has moved on and selected bulls out of a larger genetic pool. No, it's video. Okay. How do I get off? I feel like the end should be like, stay classy, man. Inoperative because of a critical piece being shortened. Being in the shortened position. That was so cool.
Okay, so